Imagine a child waiting for a hug that never comes, or a moment of praise that's met with silence. Every year, millions of children face emotional neglect, with studies showing it can scar their brains as deeply as physical abuse. Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Tanisha Burke, your positive discipline coach, and welcome to our channel. Today's topic, we will be covering the negative effects of maternal neglect. This topic was suggested by a viewer, so if you have topics you want me to cover, feel free to leave your comments in the comments section of the video. So we will look at maternal neglect, and we will back that up with peer review research, and we will share powerful, practical, positive discipline tips to help you build a nurturing bond with your children. So stay tuned to learn how small changes can transform your children's future. As parents, we all want to raise confident, resilient, and emotionally healthy children. However, parenting is a complex journey, and the way we interact with our children can profoundly shape their development. Positive discipline is a parenting approach rooted in kindness, respect, and teaching, and it offers tools to foster a strong parent-child relationship and support children's social emotional growth. Conversely, maternal neglect, which many children around the world experience, is characterized by a lack of emotional responsiveness or involvement, and it can have lasting negative effects on our children's well-being. In the rest of this video, we'll explore the positive discipline strategies to help you connect with your children and discuss the consequences of maternal neglect. We will be drawing on peer-reviewed research to highlight why nurturing engagement is so critical for children's well-being and development. You might be wondering, what is maternal neglect? It is referred to as the uninvolved or neglectful form of parenting, and it occurs when a parent is emotionally detached, unresponsive, or minimally involved in their children's life. While basic needs like food and shelter may be met, the absence of emotional support, guidance, or interaction can have profound developmental consequences. Research highlights that neglect can be more damaging than abuse, in some cases due to its chronic, pervasive impact on brain development and emotional well-being. Let's explore these effects to understand why positive discipline is a powerful antidote. Now, let's look at some of the negative effects that were found by peer-review researchers who looked at the impact of maternal neglect on children's well-being and development. The first effect is cognitive and academic challenges. A 2001 study in Neuroimage found that children who experienced early deprivation, including neglect, showed altered brain functional activity, leading to cognitive deficits. Neglected children often struggle with academic performance due to limited parental stimulation and guidance. For example, a 2019 study in the Journal of Child and Family Studies noted that uninvolved parenting is linked to poor academic outcomes, as children lack the structure and encouragement needed to thrive in school. The second effect is emotional and behavioral issues. Emotional neglect is strongly associated with internalizing problems like anxiety and depression. A study in psychiatry research found that childhood emotional neglect correlated with increased depressive symptoms in adulthood, particularly children who felt their emotional needs were ignored. Neglected children may also exhibit externalizing behaviors, such as aggression or impulsivity due to difficulties regulating emotions. A 2005 study linked child neglect to adolescent violence, mediated by poor self-control and peer rejection. The third effect is social and attachment difficulties. Neglect undermines a child's ability to form trust in relationships. A 2001 study found that children who perceived parental emotional neglect reported higher psychological distress and struggled with social relationships. The absence of responsive caregiving disrupts attachment, leading to challenges in forming secure bonds later in life. This can manifest as social withdrawal or difficulty maintaining peer relationships. Physical and mental health are also impacted by neglect. Recent large-scale studies have found that children of mothers exposed to childhood maltreatment, including neglect, are at increased risk for multiple health outcomes. These include asthma, ADHD, autism spectrum disorder, obesity, and internalizing problems that we mentioned earlier, such as anxiety and depression. The risk is particularly high when mothers have experienced multiple forms of maltreatment, and girls may be especially vulnerable to certain outcomes such as obesity. Maternal neglect also has long-term health effects. Chronic neglect can disrupt healthy brain structure, which increases the risk of long-term health issues. The study on the developing child at Harvard University notes that early exposure to neglect affects learning, problem-solving, and relational skills, with effects persisting into adulthood. Additionally, neglected children often have higher cortisol levels, which indicates chronic stress, which then can contribute to mental health disorders and reduce resilience. These scientific findings underscore the critical need for we as parents to be emotionally present and engaging with our children. Positive discipline offers practical ways to counteract these risks, which fosters a nurturing environment that supports healthy development in our children. To avoid the detrimental effects of neglect and promote your children's well-being, we're going to provide you with some positive discipline strategies grounded in research and designed to build connection and teach valuable skills. These tips are practical for parents of children across developmental stages, from toddlerhood to the teenage years. Our first tip is to prioritize one-on-one time. Spending quality time with your child builds a sense of belonging and significance, which counteracts the emotional detachment associated with neglect. A 2022 UNICEF article emphasizes that even 5 to 20 minutes of focused, device-free interaction daily can strengthen parent-child bonds and boost brain development. This can be achieved by engaging in activities your child enjoys, like reading together, playing a game, or simply chatting. For example, washing dishes while singing a song can often be a fun, low-pressure way to connect. It's important that when you're interacting with your child that you're fully present, which means turn off your phone and focus on your child's cues. For teenagers, discuss their interests, like their favorite music, to show you value their world. Our second tip is to use encouragement, not praise. Positive discipline emphasizes encouragement over generic praise to foster intrinsic motivation. A 2018 study found that teaching parents to use encouragement helped children feel capable and reduce externalizing behavior. Unlike praise, which focuses on outcomes, for example, good job, encouragement highlights effort or process. For example, I notice how hard you worked on that. You foster encouragement by acknowledging specific efforts. Like, for example, I see you kept trying even when the puzzle was tricky. That's perseverance. This builds self-esteem and resilience, which reduces the risk of low self-confidence seen in neglected children. Our third tip is to set clear, realistic expectations. Clear rules and consistent limits help children feel secure and learn appropriate behavior. Research in the Pediatrics Journal highlights that consistent discipline teaches children self-regulation and social cooperation, which prevents impulsivity, which is linked to uninvolved parenting. This can be achieved by stating expectations positively and specifically. For example, please put your toys in the box instead of don't make a mess. Ensure consequences are logical and age appropriate. Like, you might do a brief time in where you sit with your child for a minute while they regulate their emotions, rather than punitive punishment such as spanking or shouting and yelling. Follow through consistently to ensure that you build trust with your children. Our third tip is to model emotional regulation. Children learn to manage emotions by observing us as their parents. Neglected children often struggle with emotional regulation due to the lack of modeling. A 2010 study found that parents who model emotional stability foster better emotional regulation in their children. You can do this by demonstrating calm responses to frustration, like taking deep breaths when upset. If you lose your temper, acknowledge it. For example, I got upset earlier and I'm sorry. Let's talk about it. This teaches children that emotions are normal and manageable, and it helps to reduce the risk of internalizing problems like anxiety. Our fifth tip is to use positive timeouts. Unlike punitive timeouts, positive timeouts is where you provide a cool down spot that you create with your child before any kind of high emotions, where they can go and calm down and reflect. This spot helps to promote self-regulation. Again, the child goes to that cool down spot on their own terms. They're not forced to go by you. A 2025 study showed that positive timeouts paired with comfort items like a blanket help children to learn from their mistakes without shame. So it's important that this cool down spot is created beforehand, and you encourage your child to take that time out whenever they experience high emotions. They go there on their own terms and they're not forced to go there to feel isolated. That's the important thing. And secondly, they have all their toys and comforting things like maybe music that they need to help them soothe and regulate without experiencing shame. After they go to their cool down spot to regulate their emotions, you then discuss what happened and focus on solutions. For example, what could we do differently next time? This approach also fosters problem solving and emotional resilience. Our sixth tip is to involve your children in problem solving. Engaging children in democratic problem solving, like family meetings, you can join my family meetings course for that, helps them feel valued and teach social skills. A 2018 study found that such techniques reduce permissive parenting and improve child outcomes. You achieve this by having weekly family meetings to discuss issues like chore disputes. And there's a link in the description section for my family meetings course, which is completely free, that you can enroll in to know how to do it. And there are also worksheets that you can download for your family. So in this family meeting, you ask your children's input on solutions. For example, how can we make sure everyone helps clean up? This builds a sense of agency and reduces the disconnection seen in neglectful environments. Our seventh and final tip is to seek support for yourself. Parental stress is a risk factor for neglectful parenting, as it can reduce emotional availability. A 2014 study found that high parental stress correlates with less effective parenting practices. Positive discipline workshops, such as the one that I provide, can reduce stress and improve parenting skills. In addition to enrolling in a positive discipline course, you might also consider contacting a counselor or therapist or even pediatrician if you see you're struggling beyond what the course can provide, so that you can get more tailored support. Maternal neglect often stems from a parent's own experience of being neglected, or from stressors like mental health issues or socioeconomic challenges. If you recognize signs of uninvolved parenting in yourself, such as feeling detached or struggling to engage emotionally, don't despair. Change is possible. Family therapy can help you understand your impact and learn to connect with your children more effectively. Parenting classes can teach skills to foster emotional responsiveness and reduce stress. By adopting positive discipline, you can create a nurturing environment that mitigates the risk of neglect and promote your child's long-term well-being. The effects of maternal neglect are far-reaching, impacting cognitive, emotional, social, and health outcomes across your children's lifespan. However, by embracing a positive discipline lifestyle, you can counteract these risks and foster a supportive, loving relationship with your children. Strategies such as one-on-one time, encouragement, clear expectations, and emotional modeling empowers our children to thrive while reducing parental stress. Research consistently shows that authoritative, engaged parenting leads to the best outcome for our children, and positive discipline is a practical path to get there. I encourage you to start small. Try 1 or 2 of these tips today, like spending 10 minutes of focused time with your child or practicing encouragement instead of criticism. If you need support, explore resources like parenting classes and counseling. Your efforts to be present and nurturing will plant the seeds for your children's confidence, resilience, and happiness, which creates a brighter future for both of you. We are now at the end of our video as we looked at the negative effect of maternal neglect. We hope that you found this information informative. Again, I'd like to thank the viewer who suggested today's topic. If you have a topic you would love for me to cover, please leave it in the comments section and I'll do my best to do a video on it. If you have friends or family who you think may benefit from this content, please share this video and channel with them. Thank you so much for joining us, and goodbye for now.